Everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Doctor Who, Season 10, Episode 5, Oxygen, Bibbs, Meredith, Alonso. I love a good anti-capitalist parable.
Oh, this one's real red on the nose, isn't it?
Just a bit.
And they've done that a couple of times this season. That was the whole Thin Ice episode as well.
True, yes.
They're really taking a hard stand on some pretty, let's be honest, it's kind of an obvious shot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Capitalism in space, it's not gonna work.
But they've done that before in previous seasons. But this, I think like right now with everything that's going on in Europe and America,
Sure, yeah.
It's too good and too on the nose.
And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Moon. Just the idea of people who are working in a circumstance that they don't quite know the full ramifications of. But I have to say, and this has probably been done because everything in zombies has been done, but I love the thing of the undead that are merely made ambulatory because the suits are still alive.
Space zombies.
That's a cool idea. Astro zombies.
I haven't seen that. I bet that was the thing in the writer's room. Like, can we do like evil space suits? I haven't seen that one before.
I'm
and then
sure
they reverse
somewhere
engineered it.
in like the annals of B-movie sci-fi, there are space zombies, but at least we finally got
No, there
to
is a
see
movie
it.
called The Astro Zombies.
Oh,
actually,
see, there we go.
But it's not
Perfect,
involved
yeah.
suits though.
Oh.
So.
I mean, the Borg is basically dead bodies being propped up by
Speaking of the
cyborgs.
Borg, how much did that opening troll you guys? Because I'm like, space, the final frontier.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, thank you. At least a nice little nod to my favorite Star Trek series.
We're going right there.
Doctor Who doesn't really have in its native form like cliffhangers, and oftentimes the show, when it airs in America, has these sort of awkward cliffhangers where it just sort of stops the scene. What was funny about watching it on BBC America was there were 2 cliffhangers in the show that cut to a commercial in which Bill died.
Yeah.
Bill died.
I know.
Oh, wow.
And then we had another thing, and then Bill died, and then there was more commercials.
And it did give us that great "you're fighting the suits" pun.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
It's not to be missed. No. So I thought actually a pretty solid episode, and this, I mean, again, this is my what, 3rd season of this show?
I think it's your 3rd season, Doctor Who, ever.
In my brief history with this program, this seems to be the archiest they've ever been about like, let's talk about the vault again, you know, like it's this thing that they keep, you know, usually the other seasons felt to me like the episodes were not only sort of little discrete adventures, but there weren't necessarily these big through lines. I mean, maybe some things like, you know, are Clara and what's his face gonna
you
get
have like
together or
Bad
whatever.
Wolf that would appear during the Rose stuff. You'd have and like the, you know, the crack in the walls.
Yeah,
with
well, a
Amy.
lot of
Okay, so this is a thing then.
Well,
All right.
it's interesting.
This is a little bit more substantial.
This is more direct. We know exactly kind of what the MacGuffin or plot device is. We don't necessarily know what it means, but they're being very, very clear about it. In previous seasons of Doctor Who, in this more recent iteration with Chris Eccleston and then David Tennant and then Matt Smith, often they would have these elements that are coming throughout the season, and they'd be very enigmatic. There'd be recurring imagery, recurring words, recurring subplots.
Sounds.
And then they might not even come together until the last episode.
Yeah.
Like the very last episode. Then all of a sudden, oh, I get it. Now I should have been paying attention.
That's true. We did. There was a season where it was like, it was Missy all along. You know? Right.
Exactly.
They do this sort of thing. You're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this one, they're just being very, very clear, and I like that. I like how direct this season is. The episodes are very self-contained, very effective single episodes, but everything else going on is very, very clear. There's a vault. He made an oath not to leave the planet. There's someone there who is helping him keep this vow. There's someone in there who is apparently quite evil. It's probably the master. And
likes Mexican food.
We're just waiting for it to pop.
I feel like this is the most American serialized television that Doctor Who has ever gotten, and it works. It's really working for me, and I have a lot of friends who have been like so against Doctor Who for the last couple of seasons, and they're coming back and they're like, "Wow, this is great. Where has Peter Capaldi been this whole time?" And you know, Bill's fantastic. Why does this have to be the last season with them?
I did like the whole notion of you know, where the Matt Lucas, I always forget
I forget his name too.
You know, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, where because he's sort of given all the stakes dialogue.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't leave the planet, you can't die because you're supposed to be watching the ball. Like you know, it's a little bit underlining, but you know, as people who don't like the show always like to point out, it's for children. So you know, it's okay.
Well, and it's also really helps. You need someone every once in a while just to codify what's going on because there's a lot going on,
That's
and
true.
it's easy to get distracted on what's important. If you didn't specifically say, okay, so there's the vacuum of space next to the TARDIS, we can't get into the TARDIS because we'd all die. Okay, otherwise, if you're only kind of half paying attention, you might say, well, why don't they just go to the fucking TARDIS?
Yeah.
Right.
It's also nice to have like they put some at least science to everything that they do. It's nice to have that.
I'm a little hazy now because I could have sworn Matt Lucas was a robot, and I guess he needs oxygen.
He's an alien.
he was.
I thought he was a robot at first too.
Well, he was put in. He had like the 2-head thing. Like he was in like a suit in that previous episode, and the doctor like rebuilt his body.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, because he was like the subservient.
Because remember we had the whole question like, why is he using the bathroom if he's a robot?
Exactly. No, he's like a guy who was in a suit. So
okay.
Yeah. And the other guy was just a head in that suit.
I'd like to find out a little bit more about his character.
I know,
because it seems kind of a coincidence that he happened to date the voiceover actor who's responsible for being the computer on the ship, Velma.
Siri. Yeah.
Velma.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets an episode later on.
I hope so.
Now, I missed y'all's recap of the Let's All Move into the Haunted House episode. Did we talk about how I spent the first 20 minutes of that show thinking, is this the cast of The Class?
No,
we did.
Okay,
we did. All right, so it wasn't just me then. Good.
It's just sort of weird.
Because I saw one episode of that show and then sort of didn't have time for it, and I was like, wait, is were we having a crossover now? What's happening?
I know, it was.
And why is
really
Poirot
awkward.
there? You know,
they'll do that once in a while, though. I mean, they had like towards the end of the Tennant run, they had a huge crossover with every Doctor Who character kind of ever showing up, whether or not you remembered them or whether or not you're watching K9 or the Sarah Jane Adventures.
It was so nice to have K9.
Everyone likes K9.
And we haven't seen Captain Jack in a while. I'm just saying.
I haven't seen Captain Jack in a really long time. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to Captain Jack.
I don't know if John Barrowman's coming back anytime
I think
soon.
he would.
I'm sure he would. Why would he?
Yeah. In any case, it's only a matter of time.
So the ending.
Yes.
Consequences.
Yeah.
There's a cliffhanger.
I know.
That's great. This is what I love about this season, and it's one thing, again, I feel like we've been missing for a while, often since Russell T Davies left, which was consequences in the episodes where people would die and they wouldn't come back.
Right.
And it would be sad and people would actually feel things about that.
It would reverberate, yeah.
And now there are consequences for the Doctor in a way that I haven't seen in a while. And yeah, I don't think he's gonna be blind forever. No. I've seen enough Doctor Who, I've read enough comics.
Well, he's got an incarnation coming, so you know that.
Yeah, but seriously, they can keep it going till the end of the season. That feels like more stakes than usual. You know,
I really liked it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I'm curious how they're gonna play it because damn, that's new.
And he was the way Capaldi played that scene was so fantastic. Watching him just be like, no, I can't see. I'm still blind. Like you could, like I felt it. I was like, oh God, oh my God, no. Oh.
Yeah, no, that was a good stuff.
Do you think they can keep it from Bill for that long though? I mean, he was able to play it off a little.
I think next episode he'll have to.
It's gonna emerge.
Something, Well, especially if any of you caught the preview for next.
No,
I didn't.
I did not.
I won't.
They keep putting the preview for next season
in the middle of the class,
and I'm like, I'm not watching class.
I don't want
I watched it online. No, my DVR likes to cut off the literal last minute, so I didn't actually know that he lost, like the blindness was permanent.
Geez.
So I had to go and be like, illegally download that episode just so I could watch that last minute.
I can help you reset your DVR.
Yeah, 1 minute longer.
I know it's the PlayStation View system, and it like auto does it, and it's really weird and janky, and I can't wait till YouTube does their cable service.
So thanks a lot, networks who fuck up your time and make this thing happen.
Thanks a lot, networks who are putting previews in the middle of next week's show. I remember they did it on Walking Dead. Like, you want to see what happens next week on Walking Dead? You got to watch Low Winter Sun.
I was saying, I don't want to watch Low Winter Sun.
No one's going to watch Low Winter Sun.
For Breaking Bad clips. No, thank you.
Nobody did watch
I will say that, and we, I'm sure there are people in Britain who hate the writing on this show for being clever because they hate that sort of thing. Or at least some of them do. I'm not gonna paint the entire nation.
I thought people love Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's not
okay, but there are people that use clever as a pejorative, and if you're that kind of person, this is the kind of writing you're talking about. But I think it's very clever when they do things like when they're time traveling and she says, "Oh, so anything I do now will reverberate for the rest of my life," and he says, "Well, that's always the case." Like every episode unpacks a little chestnut like that, where they take a line that and kind of, it's like, oh God, that's so good. I never thought about that.
They're really good at subverting little things.
Honestly, it's so interesting, like how really it should be half the shit that Doctor Who says, the Doctor says, should be trite. But because it's always played with such gravitas by some really good actors, it always feels like really important. And like you actually kind of think about it like, yeah, you're right, Doctor Who. It's when the universe is in crisis that we really know all that. Wait, what did you say? Twice? What did you say?
Also, we got another shot of Bill's mom during her unconscious scene. Like, I wonder, like, That's the like little thing that's going
That's
through.
the other little nugget.
subplot.
And I'm nervous because we've done this subplot before where one of the Doctor's companions had dead relatives or something, and maybe they go back in time or
she
whatever.
really is her own mom.
Yeah. I don't know about that. We've never done that.
Making River Amy and Rory's kid was
bad.
That was bad enough for me.
That was awkward. It was a good reveal, and then you
Yeah.
realize, wait, does that make
No,
sense?
I don't even like that. It's
Stupid.
uncomfortable.
But we've had like what's her name? Rose. She went back in time, prevented her father from dying, and then terrible CGI's time monsters tried to eat reality because she screwed up too bad.
Right.
Oh, that'll happen.
Yeah.
As if the death of Rose's father is one of like the 20 fixed points in time.
That's more
that
important
can't be
than a
changed.
butterfly.
Yeah.
Him and Blue Beetle, you just can't bring them back.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had a fixed point in time episode.
No, it's true.
I don't even know if you had that in this.
I've heard them referenced, but I don't think there's been one in the Capaldi era.
Time is malleable all the time, every single time. You can change almost anything.
Except
the big stuff.
Right.
Like Mount Vesuvius erupting.
Can't kill Hitler, I assume, is one of them.
They almost did.
Yeah.
Theoretically, they could have. They didn't actually specifically say there was a fixed point in time. I think it was just sort of the worst stuff could happen.
They just and they couldn't really manage around it. Yeah.
Hitler got shoved into a closet.
Yeah.
You gotta figure this show has to have like really bad Simpsons did it syndrome by this point. I mean, just for themselves. Like it's 50 however many years in. It's like, no, we did that one. No, we tried to kill Hitler.
But that's one of the things I admire about Doctor Who is that it's been going on for 50 years. And there were breaks. And there wasn't an episode every week that whole time. But they're still going and they still have new ideas. And even if their new ideas are reminiscent of other ideas, you'll get that on anything after a couple of seasons.
Totally.
And they're still able to whip out great episodes like Oxygen, which is one of the better done in one episodes we've had. And I think it's the best done in one episode we've had even this season. This season's been really great.
I know. Every episode keeps topping.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, this has definitely been. I mean, again, of my limited exposure to this program, this is. I think they've all been solid. So, and a lot of this with Bill being great. I think so.
Well, for personal reasons, I'm really excited for next week, and you guys will just have to wait.
That.
Okay, great. All right. Well, come back next week and find out what she's talking about because we don't want to know. See you then.